Today, we're going to be talking about 7 listing presentation mistakes and how to avoid these mistakes. For the past couple of weeks, we've been talking about the importance of getting listings and that being part of your marketing, being part of your goal this year for 2021. Keeping in mind that, okay, I got muted there for a minute. So what I'm trying to say is that you got to keep in mind that there's a shortage of inventory, but there's a lot of opportunities in the market. So that's why we are focusing a lot of some of these presentations on giving you strategies, tips, and tricks on how to get more listings, mistakes that you can avoid, and things to keep in mind when you're talking to a seller that potentially will help you getting more listings. So today, again, we're gonna be talking about 7 listing presentation mistakes and how to avoid them. Even the most experienced realtors make mistakes during listing presentation. There's a lot going on through your head, and it's easy to miss out on a detail or two. So listing presentations are one when they can simultaneously prove your work and overcome objection. So here are 7 listing presentation mistakes and how to avoid them. So let's jump right in. So let's start with number 1: pitching when everyone who has a say in the home isn't there. Now, this can happen when uh, either the spouse is at work or a parent is busy taking care of the young children. So it's great if you get one person to buy into your pitch and want to work with you. The problem is you only won over one person, and you're leaving it up to the one person that you did speak with to remember and sell that to the other person, right? So that's the problem with this. Now, the other decision maker may have different ideas when it comes to listing their home with an agent. Therefore, don't make your full and final pitch until everyone with any type, if it say is present, like anyone that has a say into that decision is present in the presentation. So when you leave your pitch up for another person to relay, your best selling points may get lost in translation. You don't want that. You don't want to depend on someone else to sell their significant other on you. Plus, chances are that the homeowner will say or she can't make a decision until his or her significant other is brought up to speed and to the information that you provided. So, how do you avoid this mistake? How do you think you can avoid this? Ray, how do you think you can avoid this mistake?
Yeah, definitely when you're setting it up, that's the time to avoid it. You need to make sure that they know that the presentation has to be heard by all the residents at the same time. And they're gonna generally understand this, and they're gonna have to make an effort to set it up at a time that's good for everyone, that works for everybody.
Excellent, and you're and you're absolutely right. And keep in mind, you don't have to be subtle when you ask if each decision maker will be available, but tell them that your presentation is meant to be heard, but everyone involved, everyone's gonna make the decision. It will be better off on you. So number 2, make it too much about you instead of focusing on them. Making it too much about you instead of focusing on them. Now, the misconception about listing presentation is that you're here or you're there rather to sell yourself, right? While you're showing a homeowner what you can do, your real focus should be on what you can do for them. So most agents sit in front of homeowners or the homeowners and talk about how great they are. They talk about how many homes are sold and how great their marketing is. But what is the problem with this approach? What do you think will be the problem if you go this route? Great.
Well, I think that the issue would be there that you're really not letting them see. You're showing what you're doing, and you're not giving them the opportunity to see that you're going to be addressing their concerns. You're ignoring their needs and their wants by talking about yourself the whole time.
Exactly. So how do you fix this? How do you avoid this mistake? Well, think about this. Instead of focusing on yourself, talk about how your marketing and your knowledge can work for their particular home sale. Paint a picture of how working with you will guarantee a stress-free, quick, profitable sale Show your past selves, back up your talking points, but don't boast too much or make the presentation all about you. Keep the focus on the homeowner and their home. Keep the focus on their need. Okay, it's about them. Sell you, but most important than selling yourself, sell the difference that you can make in their life. All right, number three, relying too heavily on visuals. Relying too heavily on visuals. Now, if you load up your presentation with a lot of graphs, pictures, charts, videos, you may overwhelm the homeowners. You don't want the people that you're selling to become distracted away from what you're telling them or you're saying to them or what you're selling to them. So you need to find a balance between keeping your audience engaged in your presentation and overloading them with too much visual information. Number four, and number four is the contrary, right? Not using enough visuals. So keep this one in mind because this is the same balance I just mentioned. If you have too many numbers in your presentation or a lot of reading out data, your presentation is guaranteed to be as norm. So how do you avoid this? You got to find a way to include your most important CMA statistics and use them in simple charts or graphs. People don't want to be overwhelmed by visuals, but they also don't want to sit through a text heavy presentation, right? You gotta find a balance between this and kind of put it together in your presentation. Number five, and this is what puts everything together for you, which is not practicing overcoming objections. Okay, not practicing overcoming objections. Most agents know how they'll handle certain homeowners' objections, but scenarios don't always play out exactly how you plan it in the actual moment. So if you stumble, even for a few seconds, or your answer isn't 100% clear, you can easily destroy a homeowner's faith in your knowledge and ability to sell their home. Any response, and think about this, any response that creates a type of resistance is a response that you should avoid and get away from. For instance, saying no can be a very polarizing. So fully explaining yourself without outright saying no is the best practice. So the best objection responses are ones that fully answer the intent of the questions and lead the homeowner to a more positive topic of conversation. So again, how do you avoid this mistake? The best way to make sure that you have a foolproof response to common objection is to practice. Practice them over and over again, preferably with a partner or people around you. Remember this, practice makes perfect. So we get a lot of objections in our line of work. So you have to practice your objections and how to go around it. Also, keep in mind, objections most of the time tends to be excuses. So you have to expect people to come up with excuses, not to make a decision on the spot. So as a coworker or a family member, to play the role of the homeowner, study your responses as much as you study your listing presentation. Also, keep in mind that your responses won't be the same for every situation, but having a great handle on how you generally want to respond to different questions will ensure you a smoother presentation in real time. So practice, practice, practice. Number six, not adapting to the homeowner style of communication. Not adapting to the homeowner style of communication. Now, the most successful realtors can pitch to the youngest homeowner and the oldest homeowner with the same charisma and get the same message across, right? You have to be versatile in your sales pitches. The same delivery won't work for every homeowner. So you got to keep this in mind. Obviously, someone in their 50s responds to a different style of communication than someone in their 20s, right? Not only that, but one 30-year-old could have a completely different style of communication than another 30-year-old. Age isn't the only factor that determines how a presentation should be delivered. So you gotta keep this one in mind as well. Some people want to be persuaded emotionally, while others are driven by statistics and numbers. Others want to hear about your past successes, and others want to know what you do to specifically advertise your home. Some are more interested in the marketing material that you're gonna be using. So picking up on how people communicate, it's a key here. So how do you avoid this mistake? Ray, since you're being a participant, how do you avoid this mistake if that were to happen to you?
Well, you definitely need to be paying attention, looking at them, watching them. There's subtle things that you can look for, but their body language is a big one. But paying attention to how they respond when you say different things, um, and that'll help you to kind of gauge if something's working or not, and it helps you in that way.
Excellent. That's very good. So think about this for a second. So if you go through a list of, let's say, comparable cells, and it seems to lose their interest and or their enthusiasm, immediately you have to craft your presentation around a more emotional pitch. So again, you have to be versatile on this. You got to be able to adapt to what you're seeing, to their responses. So once you start looking for signs, they become easier to recognize. Going back to the previous point, practice, practice. Okay. Number 7, mentioning other agents or talking poorly about them. This applies a lot to expire listings. So number 7 is mentioning other agents or talking poorly about them. There's really no reason to mention anyone else when you give a presentation. Don't craft your presentation around comparing yourself to other agents or talk about how anyone else markets their listings. Most importantly, never throw another agent under the bus and insult their work. Smear tactics like this won't win you listings, nor will they garner you any type of respect. So this is especially important to keep in mind when you're approaching expired homeowners. If the homeowner starts batching their previous agent or agents, you got to refocus the conversation to talk about what will you do for them rather than what they will do for you. So it's not about the previous agent did wrong. It's not about that. It's about what you will do moving forward for them. You can point out why the listing may have failed, but don't mention anything personal about the agent's ability or tactics. And last one, I know I said it was 7, so I'll give you one more, and that is not leaving behind any marketing materials, right? Sometimes we go to a listing presentation, we have the agreement with us, we leave the agreement with them so they can read it over, but we fail at leaving any marketing material behind. So don't do that. After you give your pitch and leave, homeowners might remember what you said. But when you leave behind something of value, like a helpful booklet or a pamphlet or a flyer or some printed information on home selling, they have something physical to associate with you and what you can do, again, for them. So keep that in mind and remember, always focus on making a difference than worrying about making a deal. That will go far uh, along, how it will help you getting more success in your deals. So if you need more tips and strategies, like something like this that we just talked about with you today, everything is in, remember this little book? Everything is in here. So I encourage you to download the free book, the free real estate book. This book is designed to help you and provide you like an effective guide for you to establish and grow your business. Everything is here to help you and it is completely free. Again, this is just a guide that we put together to help you as an agent. And there's a bunch of tips, tricks, strategies that you can implement in your business and your business style. So how do you download this book? Easy. Just go to dailanrubido.com, which is my name. I am Dailan Rubido. So go to dailanrubido.com and you'll be able to download this book completely free, or send me an email and I'll send it over to you. If you want a free copy of this, we doing this challenge thing that if you send us 5 agents that they're not related with Broker Nation Real Estate, that we can help them achieve their goals and help them grow, and hopefully they will join our company, they see the culture that we're building, feel free to send those 5 agents. That's all we want. 5 agents from each and every one of you to send us over as leads that we can help and send that information as well to them. We really want to help as many agents as possible. I feel this market, it's at a stage where a lot of people have a license, right? But it's just like everything. A lot of birds, there's a lot of birds, but not all birds can lay an egg, right? So everybody could have a license, but not everybody could be a good agent. So we want to be able to help as many people as we can, and we need you to help us accomplish that. So again, download the book, read it, get familiarized with it, put some of the strategies together. If you think one of them doesn't work, let me know, because we want to make sure that we're putting stuff together that is going to help you, and we could guarantee your success as well. So if you want the real copy, send us an email with the 5 agents and we'll send you a free copy, or you can swing by the office and we'll give you a free copy of that as well. All right, guys, with that said, thank you so much for joining us today for Real Estate Friday. We love to see you guys. I hope you have an amazing weekend. And then until next time, my friends, I'll see you on Monday for Mindset Monday. So stay tuned for that one. All right, everybody, take care. Have a good one. Great. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate your comments.